So, consider, if you will, that the 6 strings on this guitar are really just an analogy for 6 members of a close-knit team at a company we'll call TBCE, the best company ever.com. You'd like to word that, right? What happens when these notes are in harmony with each other? Versus what happens when you lose or change one of those notes. You hear it. The sound of that chord changes, just like the sound of your team will inevitably change. Let me back it up for a second. We all know that overnight success rarely happens, and I had been in Nashville struggling for about 7 years to make it as both a songwriter and a music industry marketing guy when I first walked into the writing room of my friend Joey Scott. This room was located in a corner of the 2nd floor of Joey's house, and it was so orderly and devoid of distraction that, to me, frankly, it was kind of distracting. This was my first actual co-writing session with a #1 hit songwriter in Nashville, and I remember walking in feeling nervous and a bit in awe. The song that we worked on that day was called Grandpa's Dog Tags, and it was based upon a keepsake, the tags that my grandpa Sam, Hup, wore around his neck during World War II, that I wear around mine today. Joey, by coincidence, also had a grandpa Sam. Did I get him back in? Now, she and I have been friends for years, but it took time for her to hear enough development in me as a writer for Joey to want to invest her time and energy writing with me. Her gut instinct, her hunch, told her that time was now. When we walked out of the session that day, I remember thinking, we've written a great song, or darn close anyway, and also feeling as though I had gained a real appreciation for the beauty of collaboration. Talk about collaboration. From the 1920s through the 1950s, dynamic duos of songwriters were strategically assembled by their music publishers to create the soundtrack of a generation. These teams were typically comprised of a musician and a wordsmith, beautifully blended together with those complementary skill sets to write the biggest songs for Motown, and popular standards from Sinatra all the way through Elvis, and monster hit after monster hit after monster hit on Broadway by teams such as Rodgers and Hammerstein, who didn't, by the way, write Hamilton. In the 1960s, we absolutely saw lightning get caught in a bottle when a teenage John Lennon, playing with his band, the Quarrymen, at a church picnic in Liverpool, was introduced by a friend to a young Paul McCartney. Within a few days, they'd spoken, they'd played some music, and they had a handshake deal in place. And it essentially said this, that no matter what happens down the road with our yet-to-be-named future band, we will equally split the credit 50-50. How do you think that worked out? More importantly, do you hear of the Quarrymen anymore? I don't recall hearing of the Quarrymen anymore. Do you think it took awareness, self-awareness for John Lennon as a teenager to invite Paul into the fold to co-lead their band? We got a little band out of that. I try to remember their name. What was the name? We got the Beatles. Thank you, the Beatles. Talk about a revolution. Jobs needed Wozniak at Apple. Gates needed Allen at Microsoft. And to this day, today, the biggest songwriter artists in the world, such as Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Adele, all rely upon virtual stables of songwriters to create songs that aren't just great, but can somehow make it through a crowded marketplace to the top of the charts. 10 years ago, the average #1 song was written by 3.52 songwriters. Today, a whopping 4.53 share the credit in their blood, sweat, tears, and insights in learning how to accept their weaknesses, run with their strengths, and understanding that someone else in the room is possibly going to brutally edit their baby, their best idea from time to time. The insight that was required of these writers, the same insight that was required of their music publishers in putting these teams together, and no different from what's required, of course, for successful business and community leaders such as some of you today, to invite more voices into the table in order to push forward their mission of choice. Look no further, unfortunately, than the brave student leaders just up the road at Stoneman Douglas, the tragedy that they have endured, and the strength of the collective that they are bringing to bear to be at the forefront of a movement. I believe we are experiencing real change happening in front of us. And what you already know, if you're here today, is that to turn good ideas into great ones, and great ideas into disruptive, culture-shifting revolutions is that you can't go it alone. And here's my confession to you. I can't properly finish this presentation without your help. So, there are 4 of you who have received numbered flashcards in the audience. I don't know who you are, but I know you're here. And they're numbered 1 through 4, and each of these cards has a hint on it that you are going to share with the audience, and one at a time, you are going to help me write a line at a time to the verse of a song. Doesn't that sound fun? And we're going to do in 4 minutes, which should take a month to do. So, without further ado, I'd like whoever has card number 1 to please stand up, and someone's going to hand you a microphone and share with the audience what your clue is.
Sounds like baffled ham.
Sounds like baffled ham. Brilliant. So, 7 a.m. on Monday, baffled ham. That sounds horrible. Okay, so 7 a.m. on Monday. What sounds like baffled ham that we're usually stuck in on Monday mornings? Traffic jam. Will you please write that, Veronica? Thank you. 7 a.m. on Monday, traffic jam. Whoever has card number 2, thank you, volunteer number 1. I really appreciate it. Will you please share with the audience what your clue is?
In the office at 10 a.m. in your Dragon, is anyone going to blank for a blank run?
Okay, so I know that in my workplace, 10 a.m., 10:30 in the morning, we are starving for some more caffeine, and you might go to, what is one of the places you might go to? Starbucks or another? No, wrong one. Okay, we'll stick with Starbucks. Very good. And what do we want to get there? Coffee. So please, staring at the week. Staring at the week, coffee in my hand. My God, you're amazing songwriters. Please, keep your other jobs. I don't need the competition. Okay, so number 3. Who's got number 3? Wonderful. Will you please share your clues?
Sounds like fame.
Sounds like fame. Okay, so same old weekly meeting with the same old. Thank you, Pete. Oh, same old. Let's see here. All right, so I semi gave this away. What is your next clue?
Rhymes with steeple.
Okay, so same old weekly meeting with the same old steeple. Now, people. Very good. Will you please write that there? All right, number 4. You have the granddaddy of them all. You have 3 blanks to help us fill in here. So, what are your clue? What's your first clue?
Opposite of pricey.
Okay, so. But talk is cheap, right? They jumped the gun. Please put it right there. Amazing. Sometimes you have an audience that's too talented, and it really throws you. Okay, so, but talk is cheap when you're. Okay, what's your next clue?
Not frying, but crying.
Not frying, but and not crying?
Not frying, not crying.
Okay, so it rhymes with frying, it rhymes with crying when you're getting ready to trying. Oh my gosh. Trying when you're trying to take a stand. I didn't anticipate you being so good. It's amazing. But talk is cheap when you're not frying, crying, trying to take a stand. Sorry, I took your job from you there.
Yes,
Fantastic. You all have just helped write a verse that should have taken a month, and we did it in 3 minutes. Amazing. So, we're not done yet. What happens is we need to build this. You all are collaborating with me, I'm collaborating with you. Now, we have a chorus to a song, and I'm going to bring it up here. It has everything to do with why we're here today. If I put it down there. There we go. So, this is the chorus to our song, and this is what's going to happen. I need a rhythm section, and I don't have a drummer. So I've got a friend in the audience. You may recognize him, and Pablo, are you in the audience still? Are you still out there? Okay, Pablo's going to come up. Pablo's going to be your drum leader, all right? Fantastic. And Pablo is going to teach you, momentarily, the drum part for all of you people with and without rhythm. He'll help you. And you're going to be our percussion system. Though, percussion section. You all need to help me on the chorus, and this is what I want to do first. I'm going to change this up on you. I'll tell you what. I'm going to teach them the chorus first, and then we're going to teach them the drum part. Cool? Cool. He doesn't have a choice. All right. So, one line at a time. On this side, I'm going to sing you a line. You're going to sing it back to me when I give you the cue, okay? You gotta look inside to build a winning team. Now your time. You gotta look inside to build a winning team. Leading through the changes we wanna see. Your time. Leading through the changes you wanna see. When the chips are down and day turns to night. When the chips are down and day turns to night. Now to push that rock uphill, you need insight. To push that rock uphill, you need insight. Okay, one twist. At the very end, we're going to say that last line twice. Just remember that for the future. Okay. Now, oh, there you are. Come on up. Don't be shy. Okay, so we got to come up with a little rhythm here. Come on up front with me here. What are we going to do? Thighs and hands. How are we going to do this? Great. You're hired. Okay. Let's have them come in after the second line on the first verse, okay? So here's what's going to happen now. I'm going to serenade you with the first verse. The drummers are going to come in on Pablo's cue after the second line, after I say the words coffee in my hand, and you're going to go the rest of the way through keeping me in rhythm, okay? When we get through the first verse, I need my chorus over here. You all are going to sing along with me on the chorus. The last line, we are going to do what? Twice. Fantastic. All right, let's see if we can put this together. This is the fun part. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 7 a.m. on Monday, traffic jam. Staring at the weak coffee in my hand. Drums. Same old weekly meeting with the same old people talking. But talk is cheap when you're trying to take the stand. Here we go. 1, 2. You gotta look inside and build a winning team. Leading through the changes we want to see. When the chips are down and day turns to night. To push that rock uphill, you need insight. To push that rock uphill, you need. What do you need? Insight. You guys have left me so much extra time that I don't know what to do with myself. But here's what I think I'll do. Put this guitar down. I have to share a parting thought with you. And I know the dog tags are still out, by the way. I see that. Yes, you have to find your mission or your purpose. And true, you have to plot your course. But once you get there, you need to take an honest self-assessment. What are you missing in your team, with your tribe, pieces-wise, to push things forward? You've got to find the pieces that complement you. You've got to find the notes for your sound, your chord of music, that harmonize with your sound. Now you've assembled your tribe. And it's simply time to let the music carry you forward. Thank you so much.